Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Governor Adeleke warns Tinubu against election rigging in Osun State. The political atmosphere in the southwest has reached a boiling point ahead of the August 15th Osun State governorship election. I'm going to play this video and then we'll talk about it. Listen in.
President Tinubu, I'm passing this message to you. Did I take your sushi? Alibe àti endorse yìí kí ló dé tó fi pa wá kí ló fi pa ọmọ Yorùbá àwọn ọlọ́pàá ti wà compromise ẹ jẹ́ kí wọ́n máa wá sí bọ́dà wa àwọn kidnappers wà bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ bá wọn àwọn tó ń jíyàn gbé President Tinubu mọ̀ ń fi àsìkò sọ fún yín o ẹ má sọ pé mi ò pariwo. I am the Chief Security Officer of Osun State. Hello, President Tinubu, I am passing this message to you. Osun will not accept any rigging. We will go out en masse and vote and defend our vote. Mo tún repeat here. President Tinubu, Osun people, our core party have endorsed you as our presidential candidate. Why are we suffering? Why is our body being kept? Oh, your brother need to be called to order. Bobo Anabimo, empower you. You tell me one study bed. Ọmọ tó bá lọ́wọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ tó ń pa Ọlọ́run á dá sẹ̀ríà fún wọn. Mo lọ́lọ́run á dá sẹ̀ríà fún wọn. Kí ló dé gan? President Tinubu kò sẹ́ tí ò bá jà. Òun ló ń jẹ́ kí ẹ máa bá àwọn èèyàn jà o.
All right, there you have it. So we have Governor Adeleke, who is in that video issuing a direct stern warning to President Bola Tinubu and the ruling APC leadership against any attempt to use, and I quote, federal might or state machinery to rig the upcoming polls. Addressing political coalitions and peace forums, Adeleke declared that the people of Osun are the cradle of the Yoruba nation and will fiercely defend their democratic mandates at the ballot box. He cautioned local APC figures against dragging the president's name into anti-democratic threats, insisting that no security or electoral official will be allowed to subvert the will of the people. SharpEdge Nation, this is an explosive showdown right in the southwest heartland, with local governorship elections serving as the ultimate litmus test for 2027. The opposition is drawing a hard line in the sand, warning that any attempt to manipulate the Osun ballot will meet total resistance. Is Governor Adeleke successfully insulating a state from federal interference, or is this fierce rhetoric the opening chapter of a massive electoral battle that could fracture the region? Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. We have a fantastic show lined up for you. We'll be right back. Publisher, editor-in-chief of SharpEdgeNews.com. Hi, Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome back, sir. Can you hear me? Let's make sure you can hear me. Can you hear me? Uh-oh, I'm not sure if you can hear me. Can you hear me? He might be frozen. All right, let's see if we can get him back on. I think it's frozen. It's interesting. All right. Yep, it's frozen. We're gonna see if we can get him back on. Let's see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Just stand by.
Lola, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. Yes. Once you're ready, just sit back and then we'll get going. All right. So I can actually hear you taking your deep breath, getting ready to hit the analysis, and then you froze. So
Yeah,
okay.
I must say some technical situation.
Yeah, yes. Sorry for the technical difficulties, guys. But we're back. You're watching Sharp Edge News TV. Back to the stage. Editor-in-Chief, publisher, SharpEdgeNews.com. Welcome back, sir.
Good to be back with you. Like I said, the situation in Osun State currently looks hedgy. It looks like the moment before a dangerous storm, but it could be managed, and a proper indication of the fact that the situation is being mitigated, is being properly handled, is the fact that the sitting governor, who also is seeking a second term of a 4 years, Governor Jackson Nuruddin Adeleke, is already appealing not just to the presidency in Nigeria, it's also calling the attention of the watchful world to the events that are playing out in real time concerning the politics of that state. Fingers are being pointed in all directions, but more particularly, the Inspector General of Police in Nigeria, somebody that was touted and described as a professional, thoroughbred gentleman officer, is already been suspected of having bias and being being given directions on the script that the ruling party will want in the state. And would that be constitutional? I suspect that the majority of us tonight will agree that a partisan police formation cannot really be said to be doing something constitutional. So if the police in this situation, not just the Inspector General of Police, also the commissioner, the state commissioner of police, upon demand from the people of the state, was said to have been removed. And almost immediately, some pressure applied on the system is said to be back on the saddle. Now, the question will be asked, so what is so important that even if the state police commissioner was not recalled to the headquarters in Abuja, what is at stake that he cannot recuse himself from the process at this point? I mean, if things are going wrong and somebody is fingering an individual and every alarm is going off that this person seems to have vested interest, this person seems to have been compromised, the process may not really be free and fair anymore because of his person and the undue influence of his office, the responsible thing to do is to just step aside and let others take charge. But no, we're talking of Nigeria and the way things play out. So if at the end of the day, the people are not going to be allowed to have a free and fair choice as to who governs them, so what will be the worth of that democracy in itself? It will mean nothing. It will be an imposition. It will not be different from the
Ladies and gentlemen, let me get him back on. He'll be right back. We'll be right back, okay? All right. I think we have you back on, sir.
Well,
sorry for the technical difficulty. It's an interesting evening, I guess.
Yeah, it could also be because of some invasion of my phone by some malware. I don't know. We've been trying to troubleshoot that in the last few days, and we'll clean it up. We'll clean it up. But whoever is doing that, I don't think we pose any such threat to the system or anybody anywhere that will make them want to sabotage whatever we are doing. We're just contributing by way of education and journalism, the way we know uh, our own little space. So,
All right, you're
where are
back,
we?
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were in the middle of your
making,
analysis.
making sure that the election, the gubernatorial election in Osun State, is truly competitive. I mean, it's been said that elsewhere, whether in River State, Federal Capital Territory, Ekiti State, in case of the immediate past election, that such overbearing federal might became so pronounced. And knowing the sensitivity of a place like Osun, Ekiti, are we still connected?
Yes, we are. We are. I can hear you clearly, sir.
Like Osun, Ekiti, and Ondo State, if, as a matter of fact, including Oyo State, it will be a dangerous thing. And we pray that does not happen. You've had the governor making an allusion, making reference to the events of 1983, because Modakeke and Ilefe became such a sore theater of attrition concerning the burnings, the harassing, the killings in 1983. Same thing for places like Ondo and Ekiti. And if you're going to review this history of such violent electoral situations in Nigeria, you've heard of the Wild Wild West. When that trouble was going to start in the First Republic, in the Obafemi Awolowo, Samuel Ladoke Akintola conflict, the trouble started in interland communities of Ekiti, Ondo, and Ijesha. We pray that no such thing will ever happen among us Nigerians, among us Yorubas anymore. So the anecdote, the only thing to do to make sure that such events do not repeat themselves is to make sure that we embrace fairness, we make sure that the exercise is free and credible. Things must be done with integrity. Honestly, I am impelled to embrace the thinking of some people who felt like Nigeria as a country has not even taken off, that we do not behave like a contemporary society, that we still operate as if we are in dark or middle age consciousness. And for us to convince the world that we are not so backward, we are not caught in developmental stagnation, that we are not stunted in growth. What we must do is to make sure that we do things that really measure up to the standard of modernity. Because how do we defend it? How do we articulate it that in this time and age, the entire nation has to be shut down because an election is taking place? Tomorrow, here and in several places all over the United States, a critical election will be taking place. Nobody is telling anybody not to go to work. Nobody, and you can be sure that when the polls will begin to the results will begin to trickle in, you will find that people would have massively voted in millions. See Nigeria, because of the signals, because of the pre-election situations, the situations upon election and post-election situations, you don't have real turnout And it could be either of those things like I've always posited. Maybe Nigeria, the population of Nigeria is grossly exaggerated, or people are so lethargic, they are so disconnected and so disenchanted with those things that they feel, oh, this could be just another cycle of charade. You politicians do your thing, we don't care. And at the end of the day, the manifestation that we all see is that people are not latching on to the true vision of what democracy could really deliver. All things considered, we would want to call on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, like the governor of Osun State too, is shouting himself hoarse already, that the security system within the country should allow for the people to make a free and fair choice of who they want to lead them. To want to compel people to see things from just one angle, and then people still claim, hello, Ola, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. And people continue to claim that, oh, there is no agenda of foisting one party dictatorship on the entire country.
Right.
That argument will continue to miss the point. And I've seen somebody that is well steamed in this arrogant pride of talking from supreme state of being a know-it-all. No journalist should behave like that. Honestly, on the best of this particular individual knows himself in Nigeria. He masquerades and masks himself as a journalist, but in an attempt to say that he's practicing journalism, is nothing better than an act. And from things he says, he thinks that, he sounds so dismissive, and he talks as if he has this wand of magisterial finality when it comes to pronouncement. No journalist should operate from that. Our job is just to be a medium, pass the information to the people, get feedback to people in authority, and then let the final choice, the judgment, whether through ballot or whatever, let it be with the people. But to continue to come and talk down on people who red flag the system all the time, I don't think it's good enough. So, a word for the wise. And I think what we have heard from Governor Ademola Nuruddin Jackson Adeleke is what you would call some courageous voice, some reasonable, talking with reasonability, and going forward, it will do all of us good to make sure that elections are credible, free, and fair, not just in Osun State, but all over Nigeria and indeed all over Africa.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, join the conversation in the comment. We'd like to know what you think about this. We have some other trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So the media landscape and social media space have completely exploded today over hard-hitting television broadcasts on the state of the nation. Popular Arise News anchor Rufai Oseni has found himself at the absolute center of a viral online storm following intense live TV debates regarding the presidency, church leaders, and the severe economic realities facing citizens. While thousands of online commentators are demanding that Rufai be protected by all means necessary, as a fearless journalist calling out government hypocrisy, government loyalists and critics have fired back, accusing media anchors of overstepping broadcast boundaries and dragging respected religious figures like Anthony Cardinal Okogie into political crossfire. I'm going to play this video so you can hear a little bit of what we're talking about.
A lot of Nigerians don't remember that Cardinal John was the same person in 2014 that told Jonathan or 2015 thereabout, that told Jonathan that things were not working in the country. And I remember that time as Tinubu and co APC jumped on it and said, yes, you know, they praised Cardinal John for speaking truth to the people in power, facing them in their face, looking at them in their face and telling them Nigerians are suffering. APC praised him, they called him a speaker of truth, and Nigerians need more.
Okay, so that's just a little bit of what we're talking about. So we're seeing the media war ahead of 2027 reach a fever pitch. In a country battling severe cost of living adjustments, the broadcast desk has become a battlefield where journalists who ask tough questions are hailed as heroes by the streets and labeled as opposition agents by political operatives. Is Rufai Oseni simply holding power accountable? Has the fourth estate, or as broadcast news in Nigeria, become so deeply polarized that neutral journalism no longer exists? I'm sure you would like to speak to this as Rufai Oseni is your junior colleague. I'm sure you'll be able to relate at length with this. But yes, your sharp edge is yours, sir. Let's have it.
Yes, thank you. I can, I mean, you noticed that I was smiling, and I do not know if I never met him in person, and I suspect that he must have been practicing in a place like Warri or elsewhere while I was in Abuja back then. But let me openly commend the kind of courage, the uncommon courage that you find being displayed by the panel, the early morning or the morning show panel of Arise TV. You know, in a season where some people will soon fade into insignificance, like NTA of old, and we know the people we are talking about, people who come with this air of arrogance, as if they are the only ones that are capable of doing honest and objective, suggestive or constructive, as the case may be, kind of criticisms. But all they come to do on some of those platforms is to endorse, not tacitly now, openly, shamelessly endorse everything. Like the yes men that they are not true journalists, they are hacks. So in such a time and season, you find exceptional voices like that of Dr. Ruben Abati, that of Mr. Rufai Oseni, Ayo, what do you call the lady that does the trending event?
I think it's Oji Okwe.
Yeah, Oji Okwe, the former model. It's so refreshing that the journalism does not face an existential threat because of people like that in Nigeria. What are we talking about here? The Catholic Conference of Nigeria, let's say the highest decision-making body within the Catholic Church, decided to pay a visit to the President of Nigeria, and we were told in a follow-up interview on Arise TV, was it Friday night, that everything that was tabled, and you will understand that Orthodox Christian leaders say, like in the Catholic Church, Anglican Communion, Methodist, Baptist Convention, and so on and so forth. They do not joke around. And when you're talking of the well-known movement of prophetic ministry, the prophetic messaging within the church, it is not what people have changed it to be, like reducing it to consultation with a medium or a soothsayer or all kinds of Africanity that has found its influence in the church, particularly white garment church, that people will tell you, not just white garment church, even some Pentecostal churches, that they will tell you, they get so personal and lash on to to some select biblical quotes from Jesus Christ, where he said, "Do you think I have come to bring unity between you? No, because of me, maybe father will turn against the son or daughter against mother, and all those things." That is not the context in which Jesus was talking. So these people would latch on to that, and they would tell you, you have enemies in your father's household, you have enemies in your mother's household. That is not proper prophetic ministry. What you find in demonstration from the Catholic conference that visited with President Bola Tinubu is authentic prophetic ministry, because the commission is there, paraphrased from the words of Prophet Isaiah in proper synoptic gospels of Luke, Matthew, and elsewhere, where Jesus said, "The hand of the Lord is upon me," to set captives free, to anoint people, declare the acceptable year of the Lord, to break bondage, and what have you, the Great Commission. I'm just paraphrasing, not the way, but in a nutshell, that's what Jesus said. And if a people are really groaning and moaning, and the church having done due diligence, knowing fully well that people around the president, like Daniel, what is it, Bulawayo, or what do they call that Daniel, that once cried that, "Oh, Muslim ticket was bad for Nigeria's presidency." Later, to play the card of Nicodemus in the middle of the night, lashing up to, kissing up to Bola Tinubu again, and now he serves in the administration, a so-called Christian. In the time of Jesus Christ, when he said, "If any of you has no sin, let him cast the first stone against the adulteress," the woman that was allegedly caught in situation of adultery, where people had conscience and they dropped the stones. Do you know that this so-called Daniel, not Daniel of the Bible, not operating in the spirit of the Daniel that we know in the Bible, but this Daniel, who probably would qualify as an apostate or a backslider or a Judas Iscariot, is the first person to cast stones against the wise men of God that visited with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And what did the Cardinal John Onayekon, the emeritus Archbishop of the Catholic Church, what did he say? He said they studied the countenance, the cadence, the mood, capturing what journalists no longer do in Nigeria, getting the atmospherics. I mean, that is brilliant report, feedback to Nigerians right there. And then Daniel went bonkers. One other guy, Temitope Ajayi, on the presidential team, started saying bonkers. These are Christians. They are the ones that are being used to cast aspersion at Christian leadership in Nigeria. And that nonsense that 35 million Catholics do not represent the totality of Christians in Nigeria, but it's a sizable and considerable portion of the Nigerian population, not just Nigerian Christians. And who told them that it's only people, like some people have said, because they were not voted into office, they do not really represent? How many of these so-called people that were voted into office in Nigeria actually speak on behalf of Nigerian people? Is it elections that were really bought by way of trade-offs or all kinds of shameful things they do that makes them representative of the people? It's almost like delivering it in the Yoruba proverb that says, you just reluctantly trying to eat of whatever pap or cornmeal that is made by somebody who is so dirty, yet he or she is reducing the size. People are just tolerating all these masters and mistresses in power, but they think they are the original deal in Nigeria. Journalists can capture the consciousness of the people and report it. Spiritual leaders can do same, whether Muslim, Christian, or African religious adherents. Anybody can capture what the people are saying. So giving the president feedback on this cannot be a wrong thing. So I applaud Rufai. And Rufai is saying that at the time, Oladimejikon, that is somebody whose turn it is to have life. That is the literal meaning of the name of John Oladimejikon, who is from Osun land in present-day Kogi State. I mean, a scholar, a clergyman like that is not somebody that can just be pushed over. Like Rufai Hussaini said, he was celebrated back in the days when people like Tinubu were conspiring. They were gathering all kinds of evidence and witnesses against the administration of Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. Today is their turn, and they are not doing right by Nigerians. And people are telling them what they do is to want to. I pray we won't have something that is akin to that well-known English play by T.S. Eliot, Murder in the Cathedral. Already, they are killing Christians the way they want. They are in denial. But it is not even their desire to kill Christians, to shed innocent blood on the plateau or elsewhere all over Nigeria anymore. Not just enough for them to kill honest Islamic clerics anymore. Not enough for them to kill or silence the voices of African religious adherents anymore. Now, openly, they are so irritated because of the, what will be called in Romans chapter 1, their reprobate mind, okonto yigbi. Because of their reprobate mind, they hear the voice of the voice of a man of God, they are so irritated. Isn't that something? It is satanic. And if they are doing well, God will allow them to survive. If they are not doing good by God, they will come down. They will come crashing. What did Jesus say about seeing Satan falling like light or angel of light or something like that? That is the portion of everybody that would not want to receive good counsel. And finally, on this note, when you listen to because they had said tacitly they had an agreement with the visiting bishops that events and everything within that forum should not be leaked to the public or to anybody. But they came leaking it themselves. They said this is what transpired, but a counter narrative to that was released by the Conference of Catholic Bishops. Then everything went gaga. Isn't that something? But something to note is this. Whether you're talking of Anglican priests, you're talking of Catholic priests, if, what's it called? If they can make Meshach, Abednego, and Shadrach to bow down before the earthen image of Nebuchadnezzar, who told them that these people will be will want to genuflect and bow to the prayer or the insults. They don't even know that these people, they are trained, they have the courage of their conviction to be inspired by the Holy Spirit to die for the truth of the gospel they carry. It's a big commission that none of all these people, fake elements who would want to die by ill-digested philosophy and ideology, there are things they cannot really withstand, which is why beyond the ordinary confession of I am a Christian, you have been baptized, you have Holy Ghost baptism as well. How about the baptism of fire? Going through that crucible. That is why you find people like Archbishop Luwum, who was murdered by Idi Amin in Uganda, to have been eternally immortalized. eternally immortalized. You find their equivalents all over Nigeria. Religious leaders being persecuted, being killed because they are declaring the righteousness of God. This is the much I see. So, Rufai Hussaini will be able to withstand the storm. And I assure you too that whether it's Dr. Ruben Abati, Ojiope, or Ayo, all of them there, they are doing very well. And there are both journalists all over Nigeria. There are both journalists. A senior colleague of mine was telling me last week, oh, Dimeji, you used to be courageous in those days in Abuja. I said, no, maybe I was being foolish and stupid. I would have been killed before my time. But that is part of the hazard of the job. And journalists should keep the flag flying. Whether it's Showore, most times they target Showore, they say, Showore must go down. They have forgotten that if they shed the blood of Showore today, 1,001 other journalists will rise in his place.
Of course.
And that is the heritage. That is the heritage. And sometimes most of us journalists doing all these sacrifices, we die. Not many people attend our funeral and burials, but even in our grave, we continue to nudge their conscience. We continue to let them know that it is good to do well by the people. That is why the consciousness of Dele Giwa and other people that have fallen in the line of duty will never, ever be forgotten. So kudos to Rufai Hussaini. The shame is on people like Daniel and Temitope Ajayi, who are willing to be the first set of buffoons and idiots in power. Christians, so-called, that want to cast the first stone against Christian leaders in Nigeria. What a shame.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, join the conversations in the chat. We'd like to hear from you. We have some other trendy stories around the world.
The name of that Daniel, I think his name is Daniel Buala. Daniel Buala. So,
okay.
Yeah, the presidential so-called spokesperson. He had to fight and kiss up to the back of a man he spent months, years denigrating to gain relevancy to power. And how to justify that is to cast the first stone against Christian leadership.
Oh no, he's frozen. You can probably still hear me, but I can't hear you anymore. You're frozen now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put him out of the studio. We do have some other trendy story. I'll put him out so you can come back in. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. All right. Let's get him back on. We'll be right back, guys. We'll be right back. It's been a rough week. All right. Let's see.
Hello, Ola.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to move it to your right hand side a little bit. I think, yeah, a lot more, right hand side, a lot more. Perfect. All right. Okay, we got him back on. Ladies and gentlemen, join the conversations. We'll be right back with some other trendy stories around the world. All right, so Catholic bishops meeting with Tinubu sparks clash over confidentiality and INEC independence. So we're going to expand a little bit more on some of this clergy. A high-profile clash between the pulpit and Aso Rock has erupted following a closed-door meeting between President Bola Tinubu and the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, led by Archbishop Matthew Ndagozo and including Cardinal John Onayekon, which I think you mentioned earlier on. The meeting meant to address national hardship and institutional decay has turned into a public spectacle over breached confidentiality rules. Unfiltered statements from the meeting exploded online, with Cardinal Onayekon delivering a blistering critique on electoral reform, declaring plainly that INEC can never be truly independent as long as the president retains the power to appoint its leadership. This is an institutional lightning bolt coming directly from top religious elders, while the presidency expressed frustration over the leak of confidential diplomatic talks. Onayekon's words hit at the core of Nigeria's 2027 democratic crisis. How can an electoral umpire be fair when its boss is appointed by a candidate on the ballot? Is Cardinal Onayekon giving us the raw truth that politicians are afraid to admit, or should religious leaders keep confidential villa discussions behind closed doors? We're just going to get your last word on this because I think you touched a little bit on some of this stuff already.
Yes.
But I'm now curious. Some of these people, man, I don't know if I trust some of. I know they have collars on, and and we're supposed to respect them and all. But when you go into those offices, when you go to that type of stage, to go have these conversations, tell us a little bit about this Onayekon character, or Bishop Onayekon. Is it Bishop or Cardinal Onayekon, right?
Yeah, Cardinal.
What can we learn? What exactly is special about this that will be different from any other time that we've seen, some of these people go up there and, I know you were talking about journalism earlier on, but even these guys, can we trust them? Even these bishops?
Oh, yes, they can be trusted to the extent that, are you hearing me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Can be trusted to the extent that, yes, in time past, some churches were part of the shenanigans and evil that really was fostered to keep Africa underdeveloped. If are you listening, Ola? If
yes, I can hear you. Continue.
Okay, I want to be sure that we are not being caught out. For example, for example, if you read or if you read a poem by, say, somebody of African consciousness like Lenry Peters, who wrote "We Have Come Home," somewhere in that poem was talking of a stage in which we were administered the Paternoster. That is the Lord's Prayer. While we were taught to close our eyes and we were reciting the Paternoster, that is the Lord's Prayer, our lands were being taken all over Africa. So we have moved past that stage. Africa has embraced the faith, not just all kinds of faith, and making sure that our own consciousness and original belief system became so subservient, if not demonized, by these alien elements by way of a faith and belief system. However, there is some word of comfort to that. At a time when some alien people are embracing their own gods, we return to our own places too. So we were able to reinvent some of these belief systems to really suit our own situations in Africa. In the past, it would have been unheard of that a priest or pastor would want to argue with some king or monarch in Africa. But with the coming of Christianity, Islam, and other belief systems, we know that we can always, not just through the canon of journalism, there are other standards too, a matter of faith, that people can stand up and look leaders, especially tormentors who pretend to be leaders, you look them straight in the eye and you let them know that you are not doing right. That is prophetic. It is allowed. Now, in the context of Cardinal John Onayekon, I had one or two occasions of going to the then Catholic Archdiocese in Abuja, where he was Archbishop, to do some journalism assignments. And I do not know if I'm qualified to say that I find him to be a man that was passionate, that has always been passionate about Nigeria and the possibilities for the average African. And you will find out that was one of those people that strongly adapted, because at the time you could not even drum in Catholic Church or in Anglican Church. But today you find the totems and elements and standards of African in the worship mode of some of these churches. Onayekon was one of those people who really made that happen within the church movement in Nigeria. Now to the proper context of what has been described, I mean what has led to this controversy. The Nigerian presidency wanted to filter the conversation, the encounter with the Conference of Catholic Bishops. And the premise there is that there was a gentleman's agreement, diplomatically or whatever must have transpired here should not be had. But the Aso Rock Media Group were the first to put things out. Now, Onayekon appeared on Arise TV, I think Friday night, and was recapping what transpired there. The mood of the president, the eyeballs growing bigger once the subject of impartiality and objectivity of the electoral umpire was mentioned. Honestly, even in an attempt to window dress, in an attempt to beatify the president as a saint concerning the events that transpired between him and these bishops within the precinct of Aso Rock Presidential Villa, they exposed the president that was bluffing and bragging that they should leave him with his fellow politicians, that they will finish themselves out, they will battle themselves to the finish. Honestly, that kind of gusto, yes, you would think, oh, Tinubu is somebody who does not flinch, who would not flag. But honestly, the moment I can compare with that, the moment we ever saw that happen in Nigeria in the past was the night Ibrahim Babangida had addressed in a comical way the National Assembly in Abuja to justify the annulment of June 12, and then started juggling and pulling on his pants like a Diego Maradona, who, you know, the bravado of football, of soccer players. And Babangida reminding us all in Nigeria that we shouldn't forget that they were not just still in charge, but that they were in power and trying to intimidate us. That's the tone with which Bola Ahmed spoke from the tape that was played by Aso Rock Presidential Villa itself. And I began to wonder, could our president have been smoking something? If he had been smoking something, somebody should please tell me what that thing he was smoking to have been talking like that, forgetting that that office, the presidency, is not an imperial foothold, that the grace of that office could be matched with some element of humility. Well, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu threw all caution to the wind. And so, Ola, when I compare between what the president was reported, the tape coming from the president's office, with what Cardinal Onayekon reported to us, I have no doubt whatsoever that Archbishop Onayekon was really saying the truth and speaking truth to all of us. And now, why should anybody get so angry that people are simply making a demand that the whole exercise should be free and fair? Why should that lead to anger? Unless there is a hidden agenda. And from what we have witnessed so far, God help all of us if the process would have integrity, if it would be credible. For example, everybody had listed, everybody who is contesting the presidency in Nigeria has listed their pre-university qualifications. The basic is that you have gone to school, although it is laughable because today we are elevating everything that is anti-education. It's almost like embracing totally now the agenda of Boko Haram. Book is forbidden. Western education is haram. Now they are saying, and they can look you in the eyes without any moral restraint to say that yes, you can go to court. The court has made a pronouncement that you can't bring. Is that what we're saying? What is the conscience telling each and every one of us? If I did not attend St. Andrew's Anglican Primary School at Adeleke, why should I claim that I attended it? If I was not at Community Comprehensive High School at Adeleke, why should I say to the world that I was there? If I was not at Oyemekun Grammar School for sixth form, why should I lie that I was there? If I did not attend then Ondo State University at Adeleke, why should I lie to anybody that I was there? To have a degree or to have academic qualifications, it's not by force. But if you are going to present yourself for leadership, honestly, even if you are going to be a farm manager, there must be some requisite knowledge, something that prepares you to be effective, to be proficient at managing that farm. This is simply what people are saying. And I've had one of them coming out tonight to ask for the relations of Atiku Abubakar. What has family ties and people in the family got to do with you being honest on your academic requisite qualifications? What has that got? Can you see the way people compare between oranges and apple in Nigeria?
Apples.
Yes. It's so funny. Adam, where are you? Question of geographical location. You're saying the woman you gave to me did this. Who asked you that? Who asked you that? We are saying, where is the proof of your elementary education? Where is the proof of everything that you have said in the past? All the time, your story changes. We are trying hard to like Bola Tinubu, but it makes it so impossible for people to embrace him. Honestly, is heavily conflicted. And it's got to come out, it has to come out clean. anyway, we cannot really blame the system. We can't blame him. That is what the system is throwing up, and it's because that is what the system deserves. So everybody loves the American dream. It is true that in America, it's not everything that, I mean, everything's got, it's not about educational qualification, but people are honest enough not to commit academic fraud. They are honest enough. I mean, there have been celebrities that are in prison in this country because of such fraudulent claims. When is Nigeria going to begin to act properly and stop mouthing we are the giant of Africa? When are we going to live to that creed? When are we going to really live it out? When are we going to act it out that indeed we are worthy of the claim that we stamp on ourselves? In conclusion, Ola, I'll say Osumio, the Edo man, or people from South Nigeria would say in Pidgin, I just tired. That's the way they will put it in Pidgin English. I just tired.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was another one in the bag. Because we kind of like burnt quite a bit of time because of technical difficulties today. We're gonna round up the show. If that's okay with you, sir.
It's all right. It's all right.
All right. All right.
Let's make it brief. By the time we have fixed all our technical glitches, subsequently we'll go to the special section. But I think we've been able to hanker on the mandate tonight. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, take care. God bless. See you on the next one. Bye now.